Hello. Hello, good evening, everyone. This is another opportunity for us to be able to meet on genetics and the environment. And without wasting our time, just like I said, this lecture is actually dedicated for understanding genetic diseases and pedigree analysis. In the last lecture we had some days ago, I think sometimes last week, I actually told you one of the core area in human genetics is pedigree. And that is what we are going to look at today. We have already dealt so many, we've spent so many hours on Mendelian principle, where we look at what are first, second, and third law of Mendel's. And we also look at those ones that do not in any way comply with Mendel's principle. So, and that is the reason why this time around, for us to be able to focus for the examination, we also need to touch some areas in the pedigree, that is on human genetics. And don't forget that later today, I said your pre-test is going to be available for 12 hours. The link will be available from 10 o'clock so that anyone that is not available should be able to access the test and do it online. Then I also told you that you should be able to send me your reference. If there's no place for you to insert it, you should be able to send me your reference for that. Anyway, let's go straight to the business of today. And to be, I want it to be a live teaching whereby you'll be able to see how uh, you'll be able to generate all this. So today, as you can see, let's go to ChatGPT so that ChatGPT is the one that is going to give us the outline of what we want to do today. So um, I want to teach. I want to. I want. Okay. Should we go to ChatGPT? Don't let us go there. Let us just go straight to Google. Let me make use of Google. So today I said we want to look at understanding pedigree, the basics, the basics. We just want to look at the basics of pedigree uh, for diagnosis of human diseases. Okay, so let's see. So can we see? Let's look at number one. Let's listen to what this person will have to tell us about pedigree. So
Wake up in the morning.
So, without wasting our time, this is just a kind of I wanted you to be familiar with what pedigree is. So, and what this video was trying to say is just that you need to know that anytime we are talking about pedigree, okay, that is genetic history of the family. We want to look at genetic history of the family. Now, introduction. Gregor Mendel worked on principle of inheritance in genetics a long time ago, I told you. His work had actually given us a kind of introduction to genetics. So, and that is that. So, I want you to know one thing. Now, in pedigree, what pedigree means that just according to that video, it is a family tree that can be represented by pedigree charts with all members of family. So if you want to see what what has been the pattern of inheritance in the last 2, 3, 4 generations, even before you were born, you'll be able to. Genetics have actually devised pedigree to be able to know especially diseases that are genetically related. So pedigree is drawing or having a kind of graphical representation of the use of symbol, the use of shape representation to be able to diagnose and represent the past. So if you look at what we are trying to say is just that when you have, let's just do one thing or okay on that for us to be able to know this. So anywhere you want to look at a shape, okay, where shape here, okay, this is a shape. So anywhere you have a square, uh, if that square is shaded, the square can be shaded or it cannot be shaded. If the square is unshaded, that is representing, so this is um male, anything male that is represented by square. If it is shaded, that means that individual is affected fully by that disease. Square represents male, and if if the square is shaded completely, that represents an affected male. So that means if you are looking at autosomal recessive disease, if you are looking for any genetic disease, once it is shaded, that means that person has that disease. And if we are looking at, if we now have a circle, circle represents female. Circle represents what? The female. So, and that is what you need to know. Circle is representing female. So, since this is not, if this one is shaded, it is representing what? It can be shaded in any color. Just like what you have here, just like what you have here, where you have it, here now, this one is representing what? A male. You can see that half of it is shaded, whereas half of it is not shaded. Yeah? So that is what you need to know. So in this area now, in this one, this family tree is telling us that a male who is affected is marrying a female who is also affected. So this one here, this place is where you have the parental generation, and here the second one is first generation followed by second generation. So you need to know what are the basics. Let me also look at one other thing that about the basics of. Let's look at other basic of pedigree. Okay, pedigree chart or pedigree analysis. Okay, now let's look at this. Let's look at this. Wherever you have, you can see key symbols and lines that you need to know. Let's look at here. Okay, so let me see if this one can show us a better drawing so that okay, this one should be able to. Now, when you have a square, I told you represents males. Female represents cycle. If they are shaded, that means they are affected. If they are not shaded, that means they are what? Not affected. If they are shaded half, if the half of it is shaded, that means it is what? It is just a carrier. The person is just a carrier or a dot inside. If you have a dot inside or half of it is shaded, that means the person is a carrier. So it can be a carrier female, it can be a carrier male as well. So, and it has to be heterozygous, a carrier like capital letter H and a small letter h. Then another thing is unknown sex. If you are not sure of the sex, whether the person was either male or female, it is represented by a diamond. Diamond sign represents unknown. And anywhere you have a connecting line, horizontal line, these are for connecting parents. And anywhere you have vertical line dropping from the mating line with the children connected by the side, we are referring to offspring. And Roman numeral, that is first generation, second generation, third generation. Then the disease is yes. Okay. Now let's go back a bit to where you have images. Let's look at images so that you'll be able to understand it the better. Looking at this image, now, let me use it to explain to you. So this one is asking us to subscribe. Okay, please. Okay, can we use this? Now, let's look at this. The family tree. Okay, for pedigree. Anywhere, just the same thing. Anywhere you have a rectangle, that is male, a cycle, that is female, any then affected individual, that's the person can be male or female. So anywhere you now have the two, this is a male, the two, that means that is mating. They are mating parent. So, and you can see you have Roman numeral 1, Roman 2, that is generation, first generation, second generation. Offspring in birth order, that is 1 and 2 are generations. Offspring are numbered 2, 1, 2, 2. So you can see it here, just like this. Then whenever you have something like this, a symbol like this is talking about identical twins. And if you have a symbol like this is talking about non-identical twins. These are words and words that you should know as basics for understanding what? The pedigree. Understanding pedigree. Okay. Let's look for another one. Let's look for another one so that now look at this example. Let's see. This one will not be available free of charge. Okay. This one will not be available too. I mean, soon. Okay. Now let's look at this. For example, now. So you can see, just like I said, you can see that this line is a line of marriage, meeting, and vertical line is a line of descent. That is, this female with male, after they are related by marriage, and that means they are giving birth to this sibling. So this one is first generation, that is a Roman numeral 1, and this one is second generation. And another thing that I did not tell you, that I told you already, that this is a female, this is a male. It's an affected male. Then this, whenever you have a cross like this, that person, that means the person did not survive. That is deceased. And I told you that this one means identical twins. And anywhere you now have this sign, you should also take note that this person must have been adopted. Adopted. That's the meaning of this symptom. I mean this symbol. So this is an adopted child. And anywhere you now have a triangle like this, that means it was as a result of a miscarriage. So now, if I ask you to give me symbols for affected male, you know. Symbol for affected female, you know. Symbol for male, you know. Unaffected male, unaffected female. Deceased, twins, adopted, miscarriage, generation, line of descent, and line of marriage, you know. Okay, so these are words and words you should be able to know. Now look at this one now. Look at this. In this pedigree, in this family now, the first person is a male and he is unaffected, doesn't have any disease, is not even a carrier. So he's now marrying somebody, a female, that is affected by any genetic inheritance or any genetic disease. So two of them get married. That's why you see this line. And they now give, so you can see that the vertical, that is line of descent. So they give birth to 1, 2, 3. They give birth to 3 children, out of which we have one is a female, unaffected. The second one is a male, affected. Then the third one is also a female, affected. So out of the three, uh, only one is free from that. Two, both male and female are affected. Now, so this female now marries from another male outside their own what? Outside their own family. So don't forget that this one is unaffected. This person is free from genetic disease. She's not affected. Now marry somebody who is a male and is not even affected. If two of them marries and they give birth, this they gave birth to two female, that means they are unaffected. Now this male that is affected now marries somebody who is a female from outside, who is free, who is unaffected. But because this person is affected, look at, they now give birth to three and four, and both male and female are affected. That is telling you that in this, it is very possible for you to have a male, a father, a male who was not originally affected, but they gave birth to him directly, who is affected. So that is that. So because this person is a male marrying somebody who is a female unaffected, you can see that both their children, three and four, are affected, irrespective of their sexes. Now, this person who is a female is now looking like the mother. Is now looking like the mother, and this is the mother who, I mean, this is a female who is affected, marrying a male who is not affected. So you can see that they gave birth to male, two males, one is affected, another one is affected. So what that is telling you is that male males are more affected. So it is very possible that you so it is very possible that you sometimes sometimes you so it is very possible that sometimes you will just see that it's very possible sometimes that you will just see that in some families, what you just have is that you will see them unaffected, but depending, because they are the carrier of that kind of infection, you see them over like that. So that is one. Now that one is different. What happens here is an example of autosomal dominant traits. That is any genetic disease that is affecting non-sex chromosome. That is, I told you in the class that we have chromosome in human. There are 23 pairs of chromosome. From chromosome 1 to 22, they are called autosomal chromosomes. They are called autosomal chromosomes. So if there is any genetic disease that is affecting only 1 to 22 dominant, this is going to be the pattern of inheritance of this. You can check some of my earlier videos where I made more explanation on autosomal recessive, autosomal dominant and autosomal recessive. So this is a case of X-linked recessive trait. This is a genetic disease that is affecting the what? 23rd pairs of chromosome. So you can see both of them, male and female, they are unaffected. But because it is affecting X-linked, so X-linked it is only anyone that affects chromosome X that can be carried. You can see the pattern of inheritance. These two, they are unaffected, marrying each other, marrying this like that. And again, the second filial generation, you can see that unaffected male marries somebody who is a female, which is also unaffected. You can see they gave birth to 1, 2, and 3 children. Out of these 3 children, none, just only the male that is what affected. The other ones are not affected. That is for the second generation. Now, going to the third generation and fourth generation, let's see the pattern of inheritance. That is a chromosome. That is chromosome X-linked chromosome. So, third generation, you have a unaffected male marrying unaffected female from this same family. You know, from the same family. Okay, so you can see out of them, you see this male affected. So it's just like what you have earlier on, not affected marrying unaffected. You can see that the male. So anything that has to do with X-linked recessive traits, males are in trouble. Males in that family, even if their grandfather was not affected, it is only the male that will carry on that infection or disease. So you should know that. Okay, let's look at some major misconception. Some major misconception. So we are still going to do more of this in the physical class that we are going to have. But I want to believe that just like I said, that this is just an introductory class on pedigree. And don't forget what I told you about pedigree. Pedigree is like drawing the family tree, wanting to know, you want to diagnose. So if you see any traits in your family now, you can actually probe it back to 2, 3, 4 generations ago. So you can trace it back, whether it was the father that was affected or it was the mother that was affected. There are other different cases whereby they will be what? There will be they will just be carrier. We are going to see example where we have people that are what? Carrier. They are just heterozygotes. They are carrier. So let me see if I can still see another. Okay, but see pedigree charts for beginners. That is just the class where you actually belong to. That is a pedigree. So let's try and see uh, what this is just going to look like. Okay, So I okay, just okay. Yeah, just like I said, this is just a kind of introductory class to pedigree. So in my subsequent videos, I'm going to physically demonstrate to you and show you some of the basic examples and basic condition case studies where pedigree can actually be of vital importance to us as genetics. So don't forget that this is just an introductory class. It's going to be the first class, but don't forget that you need to learn. What the first thing you need to learn is to learn the symbols, learn the alphabets of pedigree, learn that under normal circumstance, if you have a square, what does it mean? If you have a circle, what does it mean? Vertical line, what does it mean? Horizontal, how does a adopted child, what symbol can you use for it, for him or her? What symbol can you use for a divorcee? What symbol can you use for heterozygotic twins? And so on and so forth. So, but the summary of it all and what I just want you to know is that a pedigree is a graphical representation of the history of the family, history of the family. So if you want to probe into the past and you also want to probe into the future, it's still very possible. You can predict the second, third, fourth generation even to come. Assuming that the only thing you might not be able to predict for the future is whether it is going to be male or female. You might not be able, but at least you can actually have a kind of a predictive um, cases whereby you're able to peep into the past that, okay, if somebody is not even affected, how is it going to be? Or if one person is affected, depending on whether the person is a male or female, then depending on whether it is a autosomal recessive disease or X-linked or um, and so on and so forth like that. So, but this pattern of inheritance, they are non-Mendelian principles. They are not Mendelian principle of inheritance. The inheritance of human inheritance does not in any way fall into the category of Mendel. So you cannot just say, oh, because you have somebody is tall, homozygously tall, and that is going to be 3:1 or it's going to be 9:2. No, it's not going to be that same way. So, because the chromosome, what Mendel discovered in those days, is not actually directly applicable to human. So, this is also the furtherance of us understanding non-Mendelian principle. And just like I told you, that is what we have done today is a pedigree, and which you have seen. So don't forget that later today we are going to do the test and other things. Okay, so this is actually where I want us to stop for today because of our time. I want to really appreciate your listening attention. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. And don't forget that if you don't have up to 4 or 5 likes or comments, you might not be able to be feasible. So please like the video,